the question just we're trying to discuss is what is UAT? See, testing consists of not just one thing. It's like few things here. Testing consists of a few things. Like one is the functional testing, then system testing, then user acceptance testing. We all understand what testing could mean or what testing means, but what is the difference between all three? We'll just try to understand what user acceptance means. See, user acceptance testing means that once like we find all the errors and the way the system should work and stuff like that, functional testers, the dedicated testers in the team, in the IT department, they check it out. They see the errors, they find the errors, they report it to the developers, they report it to the project managers who assigns it to the developers, and the developers get back, and finally the faults or the technical errors in the system get detected because of this process. I mean, in this process, in the functional process, functional testing, it might happen that the tester clicks on this and this new record does not get created. It might happen. I mean, this is a technical error. Developers left this error in the system. So this is a technical error. If these kind of things are caught right here in the first two phases, first two sub phases of the testing, I would say like this. These are like the sub phases. UAT is a different ball game. In this, user errors are found. Let's say users wanted the kind of errors, they're kind of more like design errors. Let's say users had asked for this cancel button to be here, and it is, as you can see, it's here. So they might say, hey, you know what, we want it to be in this location. Or usually the reason behind the errors is when they were giving requirements, we overlook these kind of things. So usually small things come out of these things. Like they might say, this button, can you please provide here? In the FDD or in the FRS, you might have said, we'll provide you a button, ability to click on a button to go there. Where will that button be? Exact location of the button. Sometimes that could be, you might have not asked them about it. Is it right? Right? So in your FDD, right here, you might have written, you might have provided them a mockup. In that mockup, you might have shown the button. They might have not seen it, or you might have not provided it. You see my point? So there could be a little bit of communication gap between what users wanted and what you perceived. Okay. This gives design errors. These are not technical errors. So they might say, can you please bring this button here? Can you please, is it possible? They might even do this. This is a big issue. This is a big error. This is a big demand, but this might be, can you please bring this thing on top and this tablet on bottom? I find that better to work with. Something like that. They might say, hey, you know what, can you, just as a person comes on this screen, can you please highlight my team's sites as a default? Right? Just as somebody clicks. So these are the things that you did not perceive as being something that you should ask from them, and they did not tell you about. When they look at the system, when they start using the system. So, one of the salient features of UAT is users actually are invited to look at the system and use the system the way they would use when it goes into production. So that is the whole crux of UAT. I mean, I forgot to mention that part, that main idea about UAT is users are gathered in a room and they use the system as they would have, as they would use in the production. So what they do is you instead of giving them a, what do you call it, shock on the production day, you just call them beforehand. Obviously, for this thing to be achieved, it needs to be exactly ready the way it should go into production. So usually it is a real right before the production. You'll keep like 2 or 3 days for user acceptance test.